Welcome all to the Behavioral Alliance of South Carolina. Today we are here working through Wednesday with Jenny Rasmussen, an implementation manager from the Military Child Education Coalition. She's going to talk to us today about SchoolQuest and how we can use it to serve our students, families, and educators. Thank you so much, Jenny, for being here with us today. I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you. I am excited for this opportunity to show you a new initiative from MCEC, from the Military Child Education Coalition. Our new initiative is called SchoolQuest. And if you want to follow along with me, here's the QR code where you can register for an account yourself. First, I will tell you it is free. It is free for anyone to use thanks to the generosity of USAA. And it is curated especially for military families. I know a lot of you work with military families, but we also see its benefits for all students. So as you explore after you register, I think you'll see what I mean. And what I want to share with you today is the ways that it can help military connected students and parents, but also the way it can help education professionals who work with students and parents. So we've set it up with two goals in mind, with immediate issues, especially related to transition, but also with long-term planning and with reaching academic goals that students and parents have set for themselves. And I'll walk you through some of the features in the tool itself. But we also believe that it can help you as professionals who are working with these students and families. And here are two ways. One is the library of resources that we have uploaded. And another is those checklists that you saw a brief view of. And as we walk through the tool, it may be that you see other ways it can help you, your students, and the families that you work with. So again, I want to tell you, if you want to follow along, here's the QR code to register for SchoolQuest. And there are a few questions involved. Really, we just need a little bit of demographic information to be able to report back to our funder that we are reaching all manner of audiences, all age groups, all demographics. So sometimes when you use the tool, there might be this survey question that pops up. We really look at these answers to improve the content of SchoolQuest. And so we would love, if you get that survey pop up, please take that survey as well. Now, I've already logged in and I've already set up my profile with my family so that I can show you some of what is in the tool and show you the utility for students, for parents, but also for those of you who are working with students and parents. So here is our family dashboard, and you'll see I have 3 students set up, student profiles. And for each of those, I get a quick overview of the checklist progress and any notes tagged to that student. So I'll take you into Erica's profile and show you what that student profile looks like. Erica has completed 9th grade, and here I can store her school information, and I can actually access historical school information. So for military families, every time we move and enroll our students, they ask us, the address and the phone number for past schools. So here, if I store it here, I can easily access that through one website. Every student profile, we have given a couple of checklists to, because we feel like they are useful for all students. And I would like to show you those because in particular, I believe that proactive parents and students can make educational professionals' lives easier. So here is our Gather Student Documents checklist. Now I've personalized this one to this student, and I'll show you the ways it can be personalized. But the background of this checklist is these are all the documents that you gather together when it's time to enroll a student, or that you just want to keep together in general for student records. Now, as an old school military spouse, I have a 3-ring binder with papers falling out of it, but this is, the digital age, and I would like to digitize these records as well, especially as a lot of school enrollment procedures involve websites and uploading that can speed along that process. So here is, it begins with a preloaded checklist of all of the documents you might consider gathering together. And as I gather them together and I check them off, it jumps to the bottom of the list. But again, I can personalize these tasks with information specific to my student and my family. So I can say, you know, pick up that health physical from this clinic, pick up the school transcripts from this school, and I can assign a due date to that as well. When I assign a due date, I can also push that to my digital calendar, and it can help me keep track of my to-do lists. And that's especially useful for other checklists in our library, assigning it to students and helping students remember their tasks as well.
Jenny, may I ask, would you say that this is your 3-ring binder online and then added even more so tools within the calendar and things like that?
Absolutely, because my 3-ring binder does not come with digital calendar alarms and alerts. So I appreciate those. And here across the top, you'll see this navigation bar includes a files page. And this is where we really encourage students and families to consider digitizing those files and using that checklist as a guide. Now, I will tell you that SchoolQuest and MCEC, we have a window into Dropbox. So you can pair a free Dropbox account with your SchoolQuest account, and you can upload digital copies of those documents into your Dropbox account. But please know that anything you upload is uploaded into that digital file library. It's uploaded into Dropbox, or as you can see down here, we have some other cloud libraries. It is secured by their privacy and security settings. It does not live on SchoolQuest, and it does not live on MCEC servers. So what happens in SchoolQuest is we give you, if you choose to link it to Dropbox, we give you a window into that file folder. So you'll see here, it notes that it creates a folder called apps and then a folder called SchoolQuest. And anything I upload into that folder, I can view in this window here. And if I were to click this hyperlink, it will download it onto the device that I am on. So if, for example, I have uploaded my students' shot records and I am sitting in the counselor's office and I cannot locate that one piece of paper in my 3-ring binder that's overflowing, I can access this on my mobile device, click it, download it, email it, forward it right then and there in the office. And we include this note here about encouraging families to also digitize an unofficial copy of the transcript. We know that under the MCEC provisions, that those unofficial copies can be used for temporary placement and temporary course selection. And in fact, we used that just this year. So going back to my student profile, as I gather those documents and digitize them, then I can check them off here and I can see what I need to update as we go. Every student profile does have that gather student documents checklist, and every student profile has credits towards high school graduation. And I will tell you, originally SchoolQuest was conceived to help alleviate this transition challenge in particular, that when military students transfer between states and those various state graduation requirements, we want them to be on track to graduate on time, no matter where the military may move them. So MCEC has looked at the graduation requirements for all 50 states for DC and DODEA, and we've looked at what colleges are really seeking in strong applications. And we've put that together in 2 forms. One form is this checklist that a family can use together to keep track of. And the other form I'll show you in just a minute is a PDF document that you can print out with some course recommendations. So for this student who has completed 9th grade and an algebra class in middle school, I can keep track of which credits have already been completed. And I know when we go to register for 10th grade, we need to make sure we get an English credit, that 3rd math credit, social studies credit, and science credit. And then anything else we can fill in with the fun classes. So I can also add some credit recommendations to this. So for example, we know that some states ask for a civics exam. Some states may ask for a technical technology course, so we can add that as goals for completion before graduation as well. And as I said, we can personalize those tasks. I can always look back at the official transcript, but I just find this a little easier in quick family discussions to reference. So going back to Erica's student profile, you'll see now, of course, because of that, her checklist completion is never going to be 100% until she graduates. But if there's something that I've set a date for, it'll alert me that that task is overdue. I can also add checklists to her library, and we can see that this way. And I'll show you our preloaded library of checklists here. We have some grade-specific checklists like middle school, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grade. We also have checklists like the FAFSA checklist, CSS profile checklist, all of these that you see here, withdrawal and enrollment checklists. And using those education benefits can be a little bit complicated to wade through. So we've got checklists and resources related to that as well. Or you can create a custom checklist and make all the tasks yourself. Any checklist you choose, you tag to a student. And you'll see here that seasonally we can feature certain checklists. So right now, it might be school enrollment time. A little later, it'll be FAFSA open application time, and we'll highlight that checklist then. So that is our library of checklists. Going back to my student profile, I'll show you a little bit more of what is in there. So I can see a quick view of her checklist, quick view of any student notes I've tagged to her name. But every student also has the SchoolQuest academic tracker. And this is where I can access that high school graduation plan, or for our early young adopters, the 6-year academic plan beginning in middle school. And here's a view of that academic graduation plan that is aligned with that checklist. MCEC really wants students to take the most rigorous course that they can be successful in. But we really want you to get those credits that you need for graduation and for achieving your post-school goals. And that can be downloaded, that can be printed, but that is accessible there and in the resource library. The other thing that this has is exploring school types. So each place we move, it may be that a different type of school is the best fit for that student at that time. So we have resources to explore that topic. And you'll see here across the top, things to know is a broad overview of the topic. Questions to ask is some ideas to guide your further research into that topic. And helpful links are MCEC vetted, trusted links that you can follow and research more into those topics. And that lives in our resource library as well, but it's accessible here in the SchoolQuest academic tracker. And then we believe that every military family should know about the Military Interstate Compact, or MIC3. We have those same opportunities to explore that topic with things to know, questions to ask, and helpful links. But we really want families to know what it covers and what it doesn't cover, and how it can help in situations that may arise with transition or with course requirements. And here you see I can customize this student profile with some resource topics that we are interested in. So every student gets these 3 topics here: relocation portfolio, transcripts and credits information, and tutorial resources. And for example, those look very similar to what you've seen before, the things to know, questions to ask, and helpful links. And then I can customize other topics for that student. So if I go into edit options, you'll see that I've chosen some for this grade level, and some we're just really not ready to explore yet, but they're available as we go through the years with SchoolQuest. And these topics can be important for military families, but we also want our school professionals to explore these topics and know what's in it. And we're always looking for feedback from our subject matter experts. So we want our students and families to be proactive. We want them to have the best information possible, and we always want feedback on that content. So as you register and explore, we would love to hear about what you see and what you think. So that is the student profile. You can also see any checklists that you've assigned to students from this view, and you can access the checklist library here. And moving across the top, when it is moving season and we are looking for schools, this is what we've set up for students and families to explore to help guide their school search and to keep notes about that school search. So it may be that you encounter a student who is moving mid-year, or as it comes time to close out the year, you may learn that a student is withdrawing from your school, and being able to help them through that process to exit well from one school and enter well into another one. You may find that this tool is useful for you as well. When we begin the school search, we're referencing some sites that are already set up, and many parents already know about great schools and about niche. They may not know that DODEA schools don't always show up there, so we have a separate link for DODEA schools, but we also reference the National Center for Education Statistics. And there we really want parents and students to look at school report cards, and so we have some text here to guide what they might look for in those school report cards in order to compare those schools. And so when I do that research, I can take notes on what I find, and those sites open up in another tab, and then I come back to SchoolQuest and I take my notes and I can record my impressions of what I find as I explore. So for example, it might be rated on great schools. We might have explored the school in person and really loved the atmosphere. For this school in particular, we know some alumni who had great experiences at that school. We can keep the URL here so we can reference it. I can attach images. So I have a student interested in tennis, and if I wanted to, as I was exploring, save an image of the tennis courts or the sports facilities, I could attach that there. And then we could have a discussion about the pros and cons of each school when it comes time to move and to decide where that student is going to go. So that's our school search feature. Our resource library, some of these resources show up in that student profile, but I want to show you how you in particular can explore the resource library and find resources that are helpful for you and for the students and families that you serve. So similarly with checklists, we have the ability to tag resources as new, featured. Again, these will be featured seasonally and updated. So we repeat topics year to year, and when we update that topic, we can highlight that so it stands out. So those features rise to the top, but then you can also search with the search bar here, or actually my favorite way to search the resource library is with this subject drop-down menu. I can filter the resource topics by subject. So I'll show you what those are. We have a list of the subjects. And then, for example, let's choose FAFSA. That FAFSA open application, I believe it opens up October 1st. So when I choose that subject topic and I filter, I can see a webinar on the topic. I can see information about how best to manage those deadlines. I can look at all of this information that will help me in that situation. So for example, this is a PDF that you can print, you can stay organized with deadlines, walks you through some of that complicated information there. And again, we have resources on all these topics, and we are, as you can see, continually adding new resources. Now, I do realize what you're seeing is heavy on the high school resources and the high school transition issues, but it is possible to set up a profile for any student. We have individual grades 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then we have, you can choose the profile to set it up for kindergarten through 5th grade. We did that based on user feedback. Initially, again, the tool was set up for middle and high school students, but we got feedback that said, I'd really like to set up a profile for my younger students, because we do know there are still transition issues there. There is still resource information that people want to access. So that is there as well. And again, more feedback from our users was that they wanted scholarship information. So we added this scholarship page similar to the school search page. We refer you out to FastWeb and encourage you to set up a profile there for matching your student's profile to scholarships that are available. But also it filters our scholarship resources, and you can click this and view that filtered view of the resource library with scholarship information. Continuing across the top, we can take notes on anything. You'll see here I've loaded a track schedule, or for my student who is volunteering, we turn in those volunteer hours, but it's good to keep it for ourselves as well, so I can keep notes on those volunteer hours. All those notes are tagged to a student. And then we've looked at the digital file storage capability. Just show you that again. And it's paired with Dropbox, but of course, any cloud library can be used. And then here's our relocation tab. And I'll show you when I registered, we currently live here, and then the military may move us in 1 year to Georgia. And I can edit this at any time if, you know, of course, they change their mind that we're not going there, that happens. But when I say where I think I'm moving, it populates it with a resource specific to that state. These can also be accessed in the resource library. But if I tell the tool when I'm registering that I'm anticipating a move, or I add a move at any time, again, it populates it to our profile. We have one of these for all 50 states, DC and DODEA, and we collected the frequently needed links for moving to that state. So first we start off with that MCEC profile, and it includes the commissioner information. We always encourage our families to begin at the local level to resolve any issues, to begin with their school administration and with their school liaison from the installation. But if it needs a little bit of mediating higher, we want them to know where to find that person. We include a link to each state's Department of Education. And if the state has a page set up for military families with resources, we include that as well. And then our Purple Star School initiatives, we include a link to the state list of those Purple Star schools. And we are seeing a lot of interest in families looking for those Purple Star schools to know that they are using the best practices for welcoming students. And so we want them to be able to find that, and we want Purple Star schools to be highlighted. Now in Georgia, they call it a little differently. They've titled it military flagship schools. So that's why you see that there. A quick overview of the state graduation requirements is included if it fits into this chart, but there are some states where it doesn't fit nice and neatly into a chart, but we always include the primary reference for where to find those state graduation requirements. State policies on exceptional learners. So if there's a policy towards gifted students, policies towards special needs students, that's there as well. And we always include a note about when it was last updated. We really seek to update this information in that January to April timeframe so that parents and students have the most up-to-date information possible. We include information about the mandated assessments and when that might happen, guidelines for school start dates so parents and students can be there on time. Enrollment information, immunization information, school choice information, including any legal information about homeschooling. And what all our teenagers want to know, can I drive? We know that those learners permits don't cross state lines and that the policies differ from state to state. So again, we have one of those for each of the 50 states for DC and DODEA, and that can be accessed in the resource library as well. We include on that relocation page MCEC resources, a quick comparison of 50 state graduations, though this site was not updated as recently as our transition documents, and a link back to that school search site. So we hope that you see some usefulness here for students and families, but also for yourself. And I will tell you again that we believe that proactive students and parents can make your jobs better. And we hope that you will register for SchoolQuest. Again, it is free to register. And we hope that you'll explore it and that you will share it with the students and families that you work with. And I believe that you'll find some links as well in the YouTube video description for doing that. Thank you for allowing me to share this website that we are so excited about.
Thank you, Jenny, for creating this website and working with others to make it possible for all students. And I would just like to ask, I know that this is a free resource for military families, but could this also, the resources page, be used for all families, something that all families could access?
Absolutely. So for example, you may have seen in the resource library, we have a resource about dual enrollment. We have a resource about advanced courses. And it may be that a student and a family is trying to decide which is the better fit for them. And the information laid out in that resource, the things to know, the questions to ask, and the helpful links would apply to any student trying to make that decision. It's just we've included a few more considerations for military families who may cross state lines.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I am going to remind us once again to please complete our survey as well with the Behavioral Alliance of South Carolina. We have this little QR code mentioned here. Please complete the 5-question survey so that we can be sure to ensure the best virtual content for you and your community. Thank you all for being here with the Behavioral Alliance of South Carolina. This has been Working Through It Wednesday with MCEC. We'll see you all next time. Thanks.